in the mobile phones?
Yeah. Well, the reason why we came up with today's session is that we've been getting quite a few calls and queries from the students. A lot of general questions are being asked with regards to all aspects of PT. So that's the reason why me and you, we just joined together to answer all your doubts. So a lot of the questions were thrown in, and our team on behalf of Sydney PTE Study Centre has accumulated those questions from the students, and they've already put the questions on the comment box, the most repeated questions from the students. So we will answer all the questions one at a time, and of course the questions that have been put in from the students as well, who are just joining us now. Just bear with me 1 second, Ali.
That's okay. Take your time.
So the first and foremost thing that I just want to quickly share with the students as well is, just give me 1 second. All right. It's quite a few questions to go through. Now, first and foremost thing, Ali, I want to address, I think there's a bit of concern from the students with regards to the COVID-19 situation and the status from Pearson about what's the situation with the test date. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen. And so I just want to quickly share my screen and show the students. Hang on, just let me fix this.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So right here. So the first and foremost thing I want to share is this is the Pearson's official website, and they have put up an update early yesterday. And the update is this. They have, with regards to Australia, what they show is that there is reduced availability of on the test centers to take tests. So we do know that last month they had significantly canceled or rescheduled a lot of the tests. However, as the time progresses and the situation gets better in Australia, they have given the availabilities or they have made tests available. They have not totally suspended it. So the students, for those of you who has tests coming up, of course, you would be on standby with regards to further instructions from Pearson to whether you'll be rescheduled or not. But have this mindset, okay? And your mindset should be prepare as if your test date is on that date on which you've booked it. Okay, so don't take it for granted that it will be rescheduled automatically. So if your test is coming up within 2 weeks, or let's say 10 days, or even a week, have this mindset that you are preparing as if the test date is not going to be cancelled. Okay.
Even to back up your argument, ATIQ, I got
Yes.
one of my students who had initially his exam on the 5th of June. And while checking randomly, he got an option to reschedule it earlier. And it's been like 5 days since he had booked it on the 2nd of May. So he got the option to reschedule it earlier. So hopefully the availability will be way better in the coming days.
Yes, let's hope for that as well. Yeah, Ali. So now let's try and answer the students' questions. Let's get back to our question answer session. And
can I start asking you?
Yes, please, Ali. Yes, please, go for it.
So here in the comments section, I got, can I skip the mini tasks in the listening section, multiple choice question, select missing word? Can a student skip them?
Okay, so the deal with all the listening section questions is that you cannot skip questions. So that includes the preparation time as well. So the only thing that you have control of is the answering time. So the system forces you to listen to the entire question. So my reply to that question is no, you cannot skip questions, but you can choose to spend less time, or you can choose to spend whatever the time you want to choose to answer those questions. Okay, so my advice is use the shortest period of time, but use all the strategies that have been taught to get the answer at the shortest amount of time, and then move to the next question. So yes, you would have to listen to the question. You cannot skip the questions.
Even you said that you need to spend the shortest time, and I got another question just right now. How much time should I spend in listening many tasks? So you said short time.
Yes.
Assume now the multiple choice question recorder has finished. Now it's over. Yeah, I need to make a decision, to make a selection. How many seconds or how many minutes should I spend per item?
So we have, through our research, come up with a table, a time management table, which we rigorously preach and teach through our lecture classes. And but as I said, the entire part 2 of listening section goes on for anywhere between 23 to 28 minutes, and out of which there is barely around 5 to 8 minutes that's in a student's control. So feel free to join those lecture classes where we will rigorously teach you how to manage this time properly. Okay. So Ali, I've got a question. So here's a question from a student who asks, this is Jatinder. Jatinder has asked, hey, does making 1 point worth mistake in reading cost 1 mark out of 90? So I believe her question is, if you make 1 mistake, will it impact out of 90? So will I get 89? I believe that's the question.
Okay. So first of all, in the reading section, we have 5 different tasks with different level of contribution. Yeah. So the question is a bit general. The mistake you make in multiple choice question is unlike the mistake you make in fill in the blanks reading, and writing. Obviously, a mistake in fill in the blanks reading, and writing will have a greater impact on your score. Even though if it's a mistake in fill in the blanks reading, and writing, like you missed 1 blank, yeah? Does this mean that you're gonna get 89 out of 90 in reading? Definitely no. We can't shape this relation. We can't say 1 blank equal 1 out of 90, because Pearson uses the algorithmic calculation, and your score goes in a very complicated scoring process. So no, 1 mistake doesn't mean 1 out of 90, whether it is from reorder paragraph, fill in the blanks, or multiple choice question.
Okay, so I hope that clears your doubt, Jatinder. So it's because PTE works in weightages, it's not always necessary that just because you make 1 mistake, you just lose 1 mark automatically out of 90. So so be content with that. Now, Ali, there's another question right here, and the question is from Yoshua, and he says, can I keep saying keywords in retail lecture if I want 79 plus?
Okay.
So the concept of retail lecture, Yoshua, is that you are retelling a story, you are retelling a lecture, or you are retelling a news report back. And if you keep repeating just a few bunch of words and hope to get 79 plus, unfortunately, that will not work, because content match happens in understanding of what you're saying. So the meaning, the purpose of what you are saying. So if you keep on repeating back the keywords, as you say, so the purpose itself is missing out. Your retail lecture has no objective. And unfortunately, there is no higher content match, and there is a likely chance that you'll miss out on your listening score just because you repeated keywords. The idea is very simple. You take meaningful notes, okay, complete meaningful notes through the form of phrases or sentences. And if you can stress upon and reiterate those messages, and in a very meaningful and connected manner. So for an example, the way our template is designed, so it gives you that option to reiterate those messages that you may have mentioned before, so that in that way you not only secure your listening scores, you would also take care of your speaking scores.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I think I got a question that too many students asked me actually in the past 2 days. Before the lockdown, I got 3 students who scored over a period of time 78 in 1 modules. Like they got 79 plus in each module, and they got 78 in writing or 78 in listening. And recently, because they desperately need their scores and the exam centers are closed, they were asking me if they can ask for rescoring, like they need to rescore the exams, knowing that they have given the exam back in mid of March. So what do you think? Can they now call Pearson and ask for rescoring?
If again you look into Pearson's guidelines, Pearson strictly requires a student to make that application within 14 days of the results being published. And that has not changed even due to COVID-19 situation. So it is still that case. So unfortunately for those students, Ali, it's past that 14 days period if they have sat down for the tests in somewhere in mid-March. So guys, if that's the case and you want to have a rescoring done for your scorecard, you'd have to do it within 14 days
within
of your
14 days. Yes, fantastic.
14 days of your score report.
Okay.
So another common question that a student asks from the student's perspective, Ali, is this question. It says, can I paraphrase and summarize spoken text? And like if we use different phrases, can we add up those sentences and make up a one sentence?
Okay, the good point in summarized spoken text, like once the recording is over, you still have some time to type your answer. So while taking notes, if you took phrases and still you can shape the relationship between those phrases in your short-term memory, you'll get some time. Most of the cases, you'll get 8 to 8 minutes and a half to type your answer. So here it comes. Can you paraphrase it? Can you paraphrase the main ideas you got? Indeed, you can, as long as you are sticking to the content. You're not adding any content from your own, and as long as you're not making grammar mistakes. So if I want to elaborate more on that, you have two options in summarized spoken text. Either to take the notes as they are, as meaningful sentences or meaningful phrases from the passage or from the recording and write it down. Or if you were able to take phrases or keywords and draw the relationship between those and keep it in your memories. And because you have 8 minutes and a half, so you can paraphrase the sentences again, matching with the content, then you must be okay. As long as you're not adding any content from your own and you're not making a grammar mistake.
Okay, that's a very precise and clear answer. Ali, I've got another one for you. And this is related to our reading section. And it's the question, and it's a very common question actually, and I think the students should be aware. So the question is, with regards to fill in the blanks, should I memorize a lot of collocations? And what should be the approach?
All right. Should you memorize a lot of collocations? Should you memorize a dictionary? What do you think? So first of all, it's a bad idea to memorize a collocation. Secondly, it is kind of impossible to memorize the whole list of collocation. Don't do it at all. It's a common mistake. What I suggest you doing is make up your own list of collocation. What does this mean? Assume you are practicing every day, fill in the blanks, reading, and writing. And one of the blanks where you made a mistake, you checked, like you mentioned that, for example, you had the options effectively and actively, and you have the word involved. You said by mistake effectively. When you checked the answer, it was actively involved. The teacher was actively involved. So what I need you to do is on your collocation list, take out the actively involved from the real exam question, write it on this list, write actively involved, and underline the collocation itself. Okay? So if you are practicing this consistently over a period of 1 month, you will come up with your own list of collocation. Yeah? So my list of collocation will be unlike yours, ATIQ. What will happen? We suggest students to read this list every day for 2 or 3 times so that it will be stored in the long-term memory. Yeah, you are not memorizing. You are just reading it once and twice every day so that on the exam day, if you got something similar, your brain will recall it out. You will say, oh, I have seen this one before, and you will be able to get the correct answer most likely. So don't memorize, make up your own list of collocation.
I think that would be a very good study plan as well. So you're precise. You're not just memorizing some general collocation and a collocation list, but something that is going to be
time consuming. Yes, time consuming as well.
Yes.
I would like to go to highlighting correct word, ATIQ.
Yes, sure.
Straight to the point. I got a question. Ali, I can't cope with the speaker. Like the speaker is too fast. I can't catch him. What should I do?
I think the approach is wrong in that case, because catching up with the speaker is the wrong approach with highlight incorrect words. What you should be doing is, you see how highlight incorrect word is contributing towards your reading section. Do you know the reason why? Because it expects you to read the text and then match that text transcript with the speaker. So rather than following and chasing and catching up with the speaker, what the advice is to actually read the transcript and then stay ahead of the speaker.
Okay.
In that way, the problem that you're facing, you're not going to be facing that problem anymore. All right. And in that way, there is a likely chance that you'd get higher scores.
That's good. And talking about highlighting correct word, let me bring fill in the blanks listening. There's a question here. If I don't know the spelling of a word, like I got the word, but I don't know how to spell it, is there any negative marking? Should I leave it empty on the safe side, or what should I do?
So the idea here is you would not want to make a spelling mistake. All right. If you want to have a guess at what the word could be, and you feel that that could be the word, you can still do that, but there is no negative marking here. But at the same time, do not use a word that you do not know the spelling of.
So it's better not to leave any blank empty. So in the worst case, if the student is not sure about the spelling, just check it over there and move.
Okay, so I've got another question here, Ali. It's actually from our director. And it's a very important question, which requires a lot of attention. So the question being asked is, should I take the break before the listening section?
Okay,
What do you think?
That's a good question. There is a 10-minute break after the reading and before the listening between those. It's an optional break. It's not a compulsory one. And here, should you take it or shouldn't you take it? It's totally up to the student. It depends on your energy, your power. Like, what do you feel? Do you feel if you take this break, you will refresh? Or do you feel if you take this break, you will be distracted? So here, I will leave it to the student. I like personally, like if I were a student, I would take the break, because I feel after spending 2 hours doing speaking, writing, reading section, it's a good time to take a 10-minute break where I can go out quickly, wash my face, and come back as soon as possible. However, some students feel it a bit tricky. If they take the break, it may distract their energy, so they prefer to stay rather taking the break.
And I'm thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Ali. And I would have the proponent view with regards to this with Ali as well, is that maybe it would be a good idea to take the break. Maybe because you might be pushing yourself for 2.5 hours almost, solving so many questions. Maybe take that 10 minutes break and refresh your mind, wash your face, come back. Now, the downside is that you lose your concentration, as Ali says. So the best way and the only way probably to find out what works best for you is to actually do this during your mock test, guys. So you have the mock test platform to find out what works for you, what doesn't. So as Ali said, it totally depends on a student, from student to student. So that's the answer. We have to fact find ourselves to what gives us better performance before we actually walk into the exam. So don't go with the fact that, okay, inky pinky ponky, this exam I want to do this, that exam I want to do that. So see how your body reacts as well. Okay, so that's the answer to should I be taking the break or not. There's another question. The question being asked is, when is the next exam slots open now? Again, it would depend from zone to zone, from region to region. So please log on to Pearson VUE website to find out what's the availabilities. Right.
So if you call them, if you keep calling them because you got a question like the exam has been rescheduled, then canceled again, I'm calling Pearson, they're not picking up, they're busy, what should I do?
Unfortunately, the only way to tackle this is if you call them up and you stay online, stay on the queue. So I think it's the case with everyone, all the other entities as well, really. So you call up a bank right now, instead of waiting for 15 minutes, you're making to wait 45 minutes. So it would still be the case with Pearson. The help might be
sending emails at this stage is
yes.
And you guys keep your eyes on the booking tool by Pearson. There will be some availabilities popped in out of nowhere. So try to check it every day. I think it would be a good idea to check it every day morning.
Okay. Ali, I've got another question. The question is, what to say in the introduction. So before the exam starts and during the introduction, what should one say?
Introduction comes right before read aloud. It is part of the exam, but it's unscored. Some students skip it, some do not. I suggest students not skipping this one. Try to just warm up your vocal cords, warm up your speaking skills. It is unscored, so if you hesitate, you won't be penalized. So in the introduction, try to introduce yourself, your name, your age, where did you come from, why you're taking this test. Try to speak at least for 15 seconds so that you warm up, you're on the proper track. Next, read aloud, you are on fire already. Okay, so
Excellent.
Once you broke this fairness in the introduction, I think you will be doing well. Because if you look even at the adrenaline level, it will be very high in the first 1 to 2 minutes of the exam. And first 1 to 2 minutes, you have read aloud questions. So making mistakes over there is a very bad idea. So
Absolutely.
Why don't you cope up with the adrenaline rush in the introduction? Do it and just introduce yourself, talk about your name, your age, where did you come from, what you're doing here.
Exactly.
What about ATIQ? I got a question here. They're asking about the full stops in write from dictation. Should I place, if it was a statement, should I all the time place a full stop?
So if you think it in computer's terms, and even if you think it in a writing perspective, a sentence is not complete without a full stop. So if we miss out on the full stop, there's a likely chance that the sentence may be totally meaningless, and you may or may not get any scores. Right? So a sentence is complete with a full stop. So whatever you have to put a full stop after you've completed the number of words you were able to get. So make sure not to miss out on the full stop. That's a good question.
Okay. And what about the retell lecture template? Some students are suggesting, like in the introduction period, like you have the introduction section, is it a good time to write any template, for example, retell lecture template? Is that a good idea, or you will be caught by the invigilator? What's the idea behind it?
You can do it if you're allowed to do it. I have had instances where the student has made this comment that they were writing the template down during that preparation time or just before they're starting their exam. So if that's something that you would want to do, you can, but I would advise you not to take that chance. Do not rely on the fact that you would be allowed to do it. So just in case, what if you get stopped and then you panic and then,
why to risk it? Just memorize the template and get on top of it.
It's so simple because you'd be using it anyway, right? And when we hope that you'd have practiced enough and then go to the exam. So be sure to memorize it. Don't rely on getting it written down. So I've got another question from Shala, and Ali, I'm going to say this. So it says, but the break is not actually 10 minutes. It takes time for checking fingerprints and everything. I don't think it does worth it, and it will be stressful. I totally agree, Shala, and it's a valid point. But as I said, it would depend from a student to student. Would you want it? Would you want it? It is not 10 minutes, but would you still want to have a couple of minutes to just for a breather, just to relax for a couple of minutes? And if you feel that's stressful, by all means, do not take the break and then continue taking your test. But if you feel that, okay, it is not 10 minutes, but let's say it's 6 minutes. Out of those 6 minutes, it doesn't take you 6 minutes just to walk out and walk back in, log onto your computer, and then just have a couple of minutes of break. So it would be totally depending on the student, okay? There's no pressure. That's the reason why I said, try and test it out and find out what gives you better comfort, okay?
Atiq, I got a very important question. Can a student in the break time go to his or her lockers and open it and get any bottle of water? What would happen if this is
big
done?
problem, Ali?
I'm just opening the locker.
Nope.
Okay.
And we did have problems previously where the student was not aware of this fact. So guys, you are not allowed to visit your locker, not allowed to open your locker, even if it's for water. Water will be provided to you. So the only thing you're allowed to do is to visit the washroom and come back. And that's it. And if you want water, water will be provided to you. Not allowed to visit the washroom.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not allowed to visit your locker room, beg your pardon.
Only the washroom.
Yes. Okay. Let's go with another question for you, Ali. And the question I have here is with regards to essay template.
Essay, yeah.
And is it a necessity to have a template? Do I need to memorize a template, or is there a requirement that I have to use a template?
Okay, so going to the exam, we try to make it as easy as possible. Okay, there are tasks that are very challenging. There are tasks that we can cope with it, that we can overcome the computer technology. One of them is the essay. You may ask me, is it compulsory to use a template? It's not compulsory. If you can write an essay with proper structure, coherent structure, lack of a grammar mistake, it has got the general linguistic range with no spelling mistakes, then congratulations, do it. Okay? But why to trouble yourself? If you got someone, you got PTE Sydney Study Centre, who come up with an essay template that works in any single question prompt. And you just need to memorize it and apply it all the time, like 1 + 1 = 2. So what for? We at the end of the day, we need 79 plus.
Exactly.
Okay? In repeat sentence here, you have to study. There is no alternative. We have no template. You need to perfect it. But there are some tasks like essay, right? Summarize written text. We have some flexibility. And let's use this for our side because it will reduce the load of preparation.
Exactly, Ali. And you're right on point. So it is not a necessity, but it would help you. It will definitely help you to maintain structure, maintain coherence, and all that aspects.
ATIQ, what about the negative marking in highlight incorrect words? They're asking if there is a negative marking going to the reading section as well in highlighting correct word.
Yeah, so if you've been following our demo videos, if the students, they were following our demo videos from previous editions, they would have found out the scoring metrics. And what they would have found out is that highlight incorrect words contributes to around 4% towards the listening section, but it's more than 7 to 8% towards our reading section. And that impact is going to be impacting both listening as well as reading section, proportionate to what the contributions are. So if a wrong selection is being made, there will be negative marking, which will impact both listening as well as your reading scores proportionately. So if you make one mistake, so that's, let's say, from that 4% contribution, it comes down to 3.5%, and then same goes that 8% contribution towards your reading, it's going to come down to, let's say, 7% or 7.5%. So they will be proportionately impacting the scores.
ATIQ, I got another question, which is very important question.
Sure.
In the exam, a student got 4 right from dictation. He got the first one from the question bank. He was so happy. The second one from Iowa. He was so happy. The third one was from crime series. He was over the moon.
Right.
And what happened, automatically his mentality, directed toward that the fourth one will be as easy and simple as the previous one. So he was kind of careless. And the surprise is that the fourth one was totally new sentence that he missed. Even it was short. He told me it was short, but he missed because of his mentality. So what do you think? How to cope with this mentality, getting 2 questions or 3 questions easy and being careless in the last one?
So that's when the awareness of markings comes into play. So you need to know that if you are not able to solve one right from dictation properly, there's a high chance that you'd miss out both your listening and writing scores. So never have the tendency to get all the questions repeated. As much as the question banks that you prepare from are solid, never rely on solely on repeated exam questions. So that's the reason why our note-taking skills that we teach to the students. Remember the other day, I believe last week, we made a video, a demo session with regards to what could be your note-taking strategies. And at the end of that, Ali, you give a study plan for 10 days to 2 weeks to perfect those note-taking skills. Now, a student must ensure that they have that correct note-taking skill so that a student's concentration is at the topmost level when it comes to write from dictation, and hoping every sentence is new rather than hoping that every sentence is repeating. That's the mentality a student needs to have, is that every sentence that I get is going to be a new sentence. So luckily, if it's a case where one sentence or the first one is from Iowa, good news. But telling yourself and being prepared that no, the next question is going to be something that I've never heard in my life, but I have the skills, the note-taking skills to take care of it. So that should be the mentality, Ali.
Okay. And I got another question. What is the best time to give the exam at? Should I give it in the morning, afternoon, in the evening? What do you think, Atiq?
So it would, to some extent, it would depend on the physical condition of a student. So what do they prefer? So the first and foremost thing, imagine and think about this in that way, where at what point of time of the day do you feel most energized? Again, it would depend from students to student, but I believe morning is when, let's say, I think someone who's got a lot more energy and they're ready for the day, right? And also come to think about it, your memory is fresh. It's not clogged early in the morning, right? So you're fresh, you've just had good sleep, and you are ready to go do the test in the morning. So this could be a good idea. I think most of the students would prefer to sit in the morning because early in the day, your mind is fresh, you can get things done, your short-term memory is fresher. But having said that, it would again depend on a student who's, let's say someone like, when I was in my school days, I would struggle to wake up, let's say even at 11 o'clock, right? So, and I would have a lot more energy in the evening. So again, if I were to force myself to book a test in the morning, maybe I would feel drowsy and I would not be able to concentrate. So it would depend from person to person, but it's a very good question. So you'd book a test, you'd want to book a test or the time slot depending on your own conditioning, okay? How you plan your day, when and what point of the day do you feel fresh? And do you feel you have the most energy to sit down for 3 hours and be, have concentration for the entire 3 hours period?
Okay, perfect.
Ali, let me ask you another question. And I think you'd be the best position to answer this question. And that is, how many days should I spend to prepare for PTE? This is the most common question that a student gets. But I think with regards to your study, your famous study plans, you'd have some input in this one.
Okay. I can't say you have to study 20 days. I can't come up with a general strict plan. So how many days depends on the skills you have got. And here I would like to highlight on 3 things which is that are very important. A student may miss the score because either lack of skills or lack of tips or lack of preparation, or all of them together. So if I get a student who is not having the skills properly, the speaking skills, the grammar skills, the spelling skills, these students will take longer time to prepare for the exam. Sometimes, no, we got students who join us, they do have very good English skills, but they are missing the proper tips, the templates, the strategies, the approaches, the note-taking tips. So this student will take shorter time compared to the one who's lack of skills. Sometimes, no, I got a student who are very good in English skills, who have got all the tips properly, but lack of preparation. They don't have time to prepare. They need someone to keep pushing them, okay? And those students are able to get their score in the shortest manner. So I can't say how many days, but the key point is to study consistently. I need to sit with you, check your skills, check your preparation, and based on that, I can tailor a plan. Because at the end of the day, it's called a tailored plan. It's not a plan that you can get it anywhere. No, I can give you a plan. Oh, anyone can give a plan. Is it tailored plan? This is the thing.
Totally depending on the students' skills and their level of English. Excellent. Ali, there's a little controversial question from our director. And let's find out what this question is. And I want some input from your end. And let's see what do we have. So the question being asked here is, do my education background, visa status, and exam purpose have any impact on the question set?
Okay, good question. We need to get back to Pearson's marking guide. Even there is an interview with Pearson's co-founder. He was talking about this aspect. According to them, the questions are not biased by any parameter, whether you are a first-time test taker, whether you need the exam for 65 plus or 79 plus, whether you are on a graduate visa or on a student visa. So if we straight to the point, we get back to these rules, the questions are not biased, the level of difficulty is not impacted by any of those parameters. So I suggest students to practice well and try not to think about any hidden parameter that can impact your score. The only parameter that can impact your score on the exam is a technical issue that may happen. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the
So
only.
this is a myth buster. I would say this is a myth buster. You know, a lot of this, you know, there are fear mongers, and they'll tell you, some, you know, advisors, PTE advisors would put fear into a student and say that, you know, you might get questions depending on your background, so change
At all.
details, this and
At
that.
all.
These are
Even
all
some of them travel
myths.
to another country. I'm not going to mention the country. Like I heard
Yes.
from a mutual friend, they said they went to another country to give the exam in another country, thinking that the questions are easier, and they
They're
got
just
lower
myths.
score. They got lower
Okay.
score, by the way.
Okay.
I got a
All
question
right.
for you.
Yes, please.
Nira Jan Puddle, what about taking notes, like initial letters for repeat sentence? I feel more confident and can recall when I do that rather than just listening and trying to mimic. So this student's asking if she can take initials in repeat sentence, not only in write from dictation. Her own experience is that if she takes initial in repeat sentence, she's able to repeat the sentence better than listening and mimicking the sentence. Can she do that?
There is no stopping you from doing that. Absolutely go ahead and do that. Our purpose is to give you options and opportunities to find out what works best for you. If you take initials and that helps you to recall the sentence better, and your note taking and your short term memory, they combine together and gives you the best opportunity to repeat that sentence, Niranjan, by all means do that. There is no stopping you. But what I have to give is a terms and conditions being applied, which is make sure by doing that you have no hesitations. You are being consistently answering correctly. Okay, so there is no stopping in doing that. Ali, there's another question, and the question here asks, is there any chance that in I can guess 4 right from dictations coming? So can we guesswork because of that, or what is the case here?
Okay,
I
so
think we
here
answered partially. You asked me that question early.
So here, the thing is, by the time you reach highlighting correct word, you take a look at the top right. If you saw the number 6, this 6 can either mean 3 highlighting correct word and 3 right from dictation, or it means 2 highlighting correct word and 4 right from dictation. So there is no chance to guess whether it is 3 highlighting correct word, 3 right from dictation, or 2, 4. So, but if you reached that point and you saw the number 7, then most likely it may be 3 highlighting correct words, 4 right from dictation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's again, you having common sense and having understanding of how the exam works. So, you know, just make sure that you always keep an eye on progress bar and then answer the questions accordingly. So that answers that question. So I've got a question from Jatinder. Jatinder asks, how many reading and reading writing fill in the blanks should I be practicing every day, Ali?
Okay. So again, back to the point, I can't give a general answer like do 50 a day. But compared to other tasks, compared to reorder paragraph, to summarize written text, to essay, you must practice way more than those tasks. So when it comes to fill in the blanks, reading and writing, I suggest my strong students, those who have got very solid grammar and English skills, I suggest them doing 40 questions a day. Yes, 40 questions.
Excellent.
But I'm not asking you to do 40 reorder paragraph. So we are studying in a smart way.
Right, exactly. And I have a question from Mahtab Rahman, and he asks, what are the strategies we should take while doing fill in the blanks? I think this is a follow-up question from the fill in the blanks question as well, Ali. From the look of it, it may be related to fill in the blanks reading. So a quick tip, please.
So for fill in the blanks reading, students must have proper vocabulary skills, collocation skills, and grammar skills. But when it comes to grammar, it's very unlimited. So I'm not going to bring you into my classes and teach you every single rule in grammar. I'm going to teach you the rule that you need to use them in the exam. One of the very good approaches that help you to increase the chance of getting the correct answer is using parts of speech. What does this mean? In fill in the blanks reading, the options that you see at the bottom of the screen are coming from the main parts of speech, such as adjectives, nouns, verbs, and so on. Assume you have got, just quickly in 30 seconds, if you got 8 options and you need to solve blank number 1, the chance or the probability of getting blank number 1 correct will be 1 out of 8. Yeah. So 1 out of total number of options. This is in case you couldn't know the meaning of the options or you are struggling. How can we employ part of speech tips to increase the chance or the probability of getting the correct answer? Try to look at this blank and try to imagine the word choice. Like, look at the word. Does it look a verb? If it's a verb, look at the blank, at the options. How many verbs have you got? You may get 2 verbs. Now the chance or the probability is 1 out of 2, 50%. So now you have lifted up the chance of getting it correct. Now you can use a second tip, which is parallel connection. Like this word that you need to select, if it was 2 verbs, yeah, if you've got 2 verbs, one of them will be maybe in parallel to the other verb that was mentioned in that text. Okay. So yes, grammar will help. Part of speech are the key point along with vocabulary and collocation.
Okay, so I've got another question, and I think this is the sort of questions that our team also tackles every day, is that I've got 76 in writing and 78 in listening, and I've got 79 plus in others. Do I think a regular class will help me out, or should you take mentorship consultations?
Okay, that's a good
Ali,
question.
I would want your input, and then I'll give my opinion as well.
Okay, back to what I mentioned recently, a student may miss because of lack of skills, tips, or preparation. The student who's getting 76 in writing and 78 in listening, he does have all the skills. He does have all the proper tips. So I'm not going to bring him to the regular classes. I'm going to waste his time. Yeah, sure. I'll waste his time. And here in Australia, with this permanent residency issue, time is money. So this student definitely need mentorship consultation. Sometimes, trust me, ATIQ, you know that, we have made some dreams true from 1 hour consultation. A student is getting 78. Okay, you're not taking any classes, you're taking a mentorship consultation where I'm pointing out why you're missing your listening and writing together. And I'm not changing anything. In this consultation, maybe I'm not gonna touch your reading or speaking. You came to me in 1 hour consultation just to fix listening and writing 79 plus along with the other 79 plus and get it. So regular classes are a waste of time. Mentorship consultation from 1 to 10 is the best solution ever.
Yes, so I think I would be saying the same sort of things as what you've just mentioned, but I would also want to add. You see, what you need, what you don't need, cannot be just preached out of a book. Let's say I would say, okay, looking into the scores, this is what we should be doing. This is what you should be doing. I want to actually physically find out what's going on. So the analysis needs to be there. And that the analysis has to be personalized. So rather than going general, we can be specific. So that's where I believe those consultations would really be handy, where we can actually sit down and discuss and actually find out, you did get 78 or you did get 76, but why did you get that? And we can make some forecasts and projections based on the enabling skills scores. But there are other hidden factors. There are 20 question items, 11 question items. They have partial credits going. So we can generalize things, or we can be specific. So generalized probably would be on a crowd. Specific would be you sit down with me and we fact find and find out where you went wrong, and then of course how can we help you to help out those issues.
Atik, I got a question.
Yes.
And you have to be honest, yeah? Just say it as it is. We are live. Why Sydney PTE Study Centre is expensive than other PTE coachings? There are some coaching centers, you pay that much, you get unlimited coaching forever. Why you are so expensive, guys? Why?
It's a rather tricky question to answer from my end. Obviously, you cannot. You probably can put a monetary value on my service, but I think to answer that question would be a reflection of a student's testimonial to what kind of service they are getting and what kind of benefits they are getting, and how quickly are they getting those benefits, and are they actually getting the right benefits from the services that we are providing. Now, we are just not limiting to the face-to-face service that we are providing. We have our own platform. Everything is uniform. Everything's been sourced out from our end, nothing independent, nothing third party. So to get those premium services, I suppose they come at a monetary cost. But I don't want to talk about any monetary questions. And I think that's a question that requires an answer. But I think I'm not in the right place to answer that question.
I would like to answer it from a different perspective. You may pay money more than you pay it at other centers, but if you pay the tuition fees or the training fees at this center and you do the exam only one time, get your score, or if you pay less money at other centers and you do the exam 10 times, I think now you can know from the end up result which one is better for you. So whether to do the exam one time or 10 times, where are you going to save more money? Where are you going to save more time? Oh,
okay.
Good
I have another question actually.
Okay.
Mahtab has asked, I'm having trouble with memorizing things. Can you please provide me any tips that will help me to memorize the templates for writing skills and speaking skills? Mahtab, we've got the perfect solution for you. Ali, remember we made those 2 videos for repeat sentence? I think we need to direct him. So Mahtab, just hold on tight. We will tag you to 2 of our short-term memory skill building demonstrations, whereby within, I promise you, within 1 hour of viewing those 2 small demos, you'd have very good sense of what can be done in order for you to enhance your short-term memory and as well as your memory building skills. So I think Ali, definitely the mind-free mind game is going to help him out.
They are very helpful. They are very helpful. And the
Excellent.
thing is, when it comes to the essay, for example, before teaching the essay class, we don't give the students the templates right to memorize it. We first of all show a student how to write an essay, the flow of the sentences. Like I teach my students what to write in each body, sentence by sentence, word by word, comma by comma. Once students are aware of the structure of the essay, the flow of the sentences, giving them a template to memorize it will be way easier. Yeah. So yeah, on top of the memory skills, understanding the concept behind the templates will be very helpful.
Excellent. Ali, there's another question that I think we need to pull that back that required an answer. And I believe that's a valid question as well, is that with regards to summarize spoken text, is there a requirement that I have to write down a complex sentence? Because, it's a writing task and maybe the student might have this concept that, oh, I need to impress the system and let me write down a complex sentence, or and maybe I will end up making those mistakes, trying to, be expert, but not having that capability. So do I need to write a complex sentence?
Let's go back to the grammar, to the marking criteria. There are 2 marks as per Pearson's scoring guide coming from grammar. Yeah, if you check it from A to Z, they didn't mention anything regarding complex sentences.
Nothing.
So if you write complex sentences, you're not gonna earn more marks. If you write complex sentence, you may make a grammar mistake and end up in a big trouble. So no need. As long as you are getting the content, writing it properly, you can write simple sentences, 3 to 4 simple sentences, you are on top of it. If you need to write a complex sentence, it's okay, but show me that you can write it well.
Exactly.
So it's not a big requirement.
Exactly. And I have also an input. So if we, again, deep into the marking guidelines, they simply say that the structure of the sentences, they have to be maintained. So guys, the basic core, which is if you have the sentences written with subject, verb, object, agreement maintained, and the rudimentary grammar requirements, which is you capitalize the first word and you put a full stop, and the sentence structure is maintained and it is coherent, it is understandable, why should you worry? There is no worry for you to come up with complex sentences and as a result trying to, just because you want trying to impress the system, you end up making grammatical mistakes. Ali, there's another question.
Yes, I'm ready.
So what if I do not use synonyms in summarized written text? What's the implication?
Okay, so in our strategy, we suggest students, after lifting the main ideas from the main text, we suggest them changing 2 words with their synonyms, yeah, to secure or to make sure that the vocabulary score is 2 out of 2. So as per our strategy, it is a requirement to get 7 out of 7. But what if you don't do it? Would you be in trouble? I'm afraid that you can't get the full vocabulary score. And here there is kind of dilemma. I have no idea about the synonyms. I may make a mistake if I change the synonyms, or the synonym that I place may not make sense, okay? So should I risk it or leave it as it is? Here, you have 2 choices. One is more difficult, or one is having greater impact on your score. So I'm not going to say it directly. Try your best to change the words with their synonyms. If you are certain that you can't do it, if you are certain that you're going to make spelling mistakes and the words will not make sense, then leave it as it is. The impact or the marks you will lose may be fewer than if you make the mistakes.
Yeah, so it's more like, sorry to interrupt, Ali. It's like, what if you use a synonym that you're not sure of, and then the context changes, the meaning changes, and then all of a sudden the content is not understandable. So guys, there is no requirement that you come up with some bombastic words and certain fancy words. Even the simplest of the simplest words can have their synonyms inferring similar meanings. So do not be too concerned about, I have to find out these difficult words synonym. Just choose the simplest ones to come up with synonym. And worst case scenario, if you cannot, make sure at least the very basics are, because you're trying to come up with a complex compound sentence, you've got to use a connector, and then you've got to have commas. Question, Ali. And the question here is, again, I go back to our director's question. Why is Sydney PTE Study Centre the best? What's your take on it, Ali?
Because they have you, ATIQ.
No. Let's have a serious answer.
Why
from your perspective. Well, from your perspective, totally.
I think we are the best because we have mixed the academic tips with the practical tips to crack this exam. I think we are the best because if you check our scorecards, we have got tens, even hundreds of students who started with 39 in speaking, 27 in speaking to 90. I think we are the best because we have solution for every single problem. I think we are the best, and here I would like everyone to check Facebook. The market is open, yeah, globalization. We are the best because whatever program we came up with, 2 months later, the industry is following the program. Now you hear everywhere mentorship. Who came up with the mentorship? Even those online sessions, Zoom sessions. So we are the best because we are leading the market from A to Z. From A to Z. Even the term intensive. I still remember the term intensive practice was introduced back in May 2018. Intensive practice sessions. Now everyone, if you check on Facebook, we have intensive practice session. Speaking recognition classes. Too many reasons. It will take another 1 hour to mention why we are the best, but we are the best because I think we are making everyone's dream reality, which is a permanent residency. And yes, proudly, we are the best. The one who asked us the question is right. We are the best.
Excellent. Okay, I hope that one satisfies our dear viewers as well. On that note, we will still stay here for a couple of seconds. If you do not have any further questions, on behalf of PTE Study Centre Sydney, we want to thank you for tuning into these regular daily demonstrations that I conduct. Believe me, our purpose is very simple here, is to make you aware and give you the best sort of advice, the correct advice for you to approach PTE, not only from an academic perspective, but also the best way which would suit your needs to get the score at the earliest opportunity. So make sure you watch our videos, follow the steps, follow the advice, and use all the services that are being provided to you. So through our stage 1 of Infinity Portal, we have introduced and centralized all our lectures and made everything available, all the services available online, all the way from 10 a.m. right up until night. As you know, our lectures, they will be broadcasted up until 12 o'clock. So the services are available for you. All we need you is to come and get help, talk to us, clear PTE, prepare, have the mindset to clear at least the cloud of PTE as soon as COVID-19 situation is
hopefully very soon. It's over very soon.
And it is coming very soon. Hopefully. And so that you're ready, put the test, get it done, and then on to that next step. All right. Any final words from you, Ali?
Just guys, imagine how busy the exam centers will be after the restrictions are lifted out. So make sure the next attempt is your last attempt. This is the best time to prepare. We hope that the restrictions are being lifted up very soon. So make sure you are ready. 2 weeks, let's see. We can do it together. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ali.
Thank you,
And
guys.
that's it
Have a good
from
evening.
us today. Have a good evening. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.